Happy Mother's Day. Surely, many of you who already have mother, you might call them this morning or talk to them, or you might going to do it later on. So anyway, it is very special day. We are also talking about Mother Nature, for the nature as mother, and there are many meanings why we call nature mother, and also there are also feeling like that when something happened to you by nature, you remind your mother that time when you are in a risk, even though you are major, you are old man, or right, whatever you are, you remind your mother when you have risk in your life. That is nature. So, and that taught us how grateful we are of our own mother. We don't remember really detail what happened when we are young. Surely a lot of things happened there. Maybe you feel like your mother did not do anything to you, but you are wrong, right? We don't keep that clear memory from our childhood. Surely, they did a lot. They endured through a lot of problems, and they never complain about it. And they took all their responsibility. That's why you are walking now, you are talking now, you are breathing now. So in that case, we cannot forget our mother as kind of benefactor in our life all the time. And also we can remind our mother as a great teacher. Our mother did not teach us as the teacher teaches in school, but they taught us in different way through showing their compassion, their care, their love. And the teachers at school, they spent only 1 hour to 3 hours with you for a day, your mothers and also your other parents. They are spending time with you like 24/7 as they can. They did it. So in that case, I always feel, and I always heard from His Holiness saying that the mother is your great teacher of compassion and love. So in that case, we celebrate this day. It's very important. Maybe it's more important than your own birthday. Without a mother, you will not get it. So we will celebrate. And I want to say thank you for all who became mother or who behave like mother, right? All these are similar things. And some, they did not become like a real mother, but they behave like mother. They cares for other children or other people. These are not very different than biological mother. So all these, great people, I feel really thankful, behave of everyone. So this is the first thing that I want to say. The second thing, we would talk about the, bigger mother, or what we call it, like Mother Nature, or the thing that we get all that we need the nature, right? We will talk about it. So this is our fourth talk about environment care, and we have a title like Buddha and Mother Nature, right? So in that, under that title, we also want to keep like Mother Nature. It has always, I feel like, two meaning, right? Mother Nature can be represent like a kind of larger perspective of mother, larger figure of mother, or you can also think like Mother Nature is what you have, the nature that behave like mother, caring about others, right? So always we're saying in front of in the front of your own mother's eyes, you are always a child, right? You are always children. So similarly, according to Buddha's teaching, in his eyes, every living being is his own child, sort of. So also, it has meaning of compassion there. So that's why we still like to have that title, like Mother Nature, and also we're trying to connect it with Buddha's teaching. So today we will talk about our responsibilities. Every person's responsibility to care environment, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, like seeing yourself as a guest in this world. What you buy, what you get is from the earth is something that you are borrowing from earth. Even your own physical body, it has to go back to the earth. Some people have kind of I could not say it is attachment, but sometimes even though you put your body back to the earth, then you build something there, right? Like a special thing. And then in the earth, big land become like cemetery. Then every people build there some kind of really concrete thing there. Actually, it's funny, right? You are already passed away, but still you have sort of attachment there and building something very special, right? So, but I don't know. But actually, the story is same thing. Our physical body is also outcome of something that grow on the earth, and at the end, our physical body will dissolve on the earth. Then it will grow like plant or whatever it is. So we already talked these things. We don't need to repeat it again. So here I want to talk about how to be a good human being besides paying tax properly or not crossing the law that we have. I mean the law of country, right? So besides doing that thing, how we can perfect ourselves as a human being, right? So that is important. By law or by someone else judge, even the animals follow the rule, right? And there, if you put kind of what do you call it, collar on these little dogs, they will not bark, right? then if you put the invisible fence, they will not cross. But animal will also follow the rule that has power of punishing, right? But we are not. We are human being. We have to be better than that. So that I was thinking, following the rule is not enough to become real human being. To become real human being, we need something from our heart, and we have to know what is right and what is not right things to do. So all this we need. Then the one thing I noticed that at the beginning of this COVID-19 pandemic time, everybody is so stressed, right? Everybody is so stressed. We are kind of scared and even don't know what to do, right? Even not sure about where get the food or not. So that's why we were running at the store and buying a bunch of food, extra, right? So even the toilet paper, all these things we are buying because of our our friend in mind. Very scared, have no idea what's going to happen. During that time, then I was in my kitchen. Then I always keep separate my recycle thing and unrecycled thing, right? Then as well as other human being, I was also feel stressed that time. Then I was almost trying to put everything in my trash, right? Then I throw a tin in my trash. Then I thought that moment, is that right or wrong? Because you are so stressed, right? And whereas feeling not secure, then you have no time to think about environment that time. Then I thought that was wrong. If you really want to be somebody that cares about environment, right? I don't know it's right a term to call ecologist or environmentalist, whatever. If you are someone who care about environment, who care about future living being and other living beings, you cannot be really small heart. You have to be somebody that has big heart. Even though you are in trouble, even in you are in pandemic time, you have to be strong enough to think about care to take care of environment, right? So then I thought that time, to become real person who care about environment, you need really strong and giant heart. Right? So then I pick up that recyclable thing and I put it into that different bin that I keep. So in that case, I realized that it is important. If you have like tiny heart, that you could not take care of the environment. Right? So people who do a lot of damage on environment, maybe they looks like skillful or smart or very advanced in business, whatever. But if you think carefully, most of them has tiny heart that can fit only themselves. So first thing is that we need a giant heart. We need a heart like Bodhisattva, and that can focus on long term than a short term thing. And then most important thing is, I think, awareness of who we are, right? Who we are. That is really important. It's not about to remember what is your own color, or where is your ancestor from. Right? There are people who are really interested to know their own ancestor. I want to know where my grandfather came from, or my grandmother came from. I don't think it is really important, right? Where you came from. No matter you did not come from different planet, you are from this planet, right? Then goes here and there. If you go further and further, you could not find a final place. There's not like a story of those tales. They say the first human being came out from tree or cave or whatever. These are story, but it's not important where we came from. It's important where are we now, right? We are in 21st century. We are a human being. First thing is important to note that we are human beings. That means it doesn't mean that we are like in like very high rank of animal kingdom or whatever you call it, but it's not about that. It's about our capability. We are human being. We are like very powerful species on this planet. You are a sort of elephant in the house, right? If you move here and there widely, you will damage everything. Although you are like elephant in the house, you have to know how to walk like cat, carefully and not damaging, something like that's funny example. But right, you have to know how big you are, what kind of damage you can do. That's really important. So first thing, we have to be aware that we are human being. We are capable to damage whole world in few minutes, right? Likewise, we are also human being that has capable to save the world, right? That is first thing we always have to remember. We are human being. We are capable. And then second thing is we also have to know the time, right? Time. This is the 21st century. Kind of really important time in human history, the history of the world. Because during this time, actually it's sort of pandemic, a long-term pandemic we are in, the 21st century. Our impact is huge. Remember, we stopped going outside for a while. Then water become cleaner, the air become cleaner. Then the footage from sky, from space looks different than earlier. So that shows, what we are doing in 21st century in our daily life. So this century is really important. It reminds me, the earlier time, like in the Tibet, before the Tibetans came to exile, there are some kind of a generation we have, which is very important, where we felt to handle, right? So then now the new generation, when they look at back the generation which failed to preserve Tibet, they will blame them. We're always saying these people did not do that, right? So so these people are responsible because they are in that time. We are not blaming few hundred years ago people that much. We blame, right, who has power to handle it and who did not do it. Similarly, this century, during the 21st century, we are in that kind of role. If we don't do well, then future generation will blame us. And then, I think in that case, we really have to know we are in 21st century. Right, so that makes we are different from past mankind. In earlier time, they can do a lot, they did, but they could not do like what we do now. They could not damage the world as what we can do now. Right, we are living in this country, we like to eat food from far away. Right, this is this time. Right, we enjoy the food from Australia in this country. Just funny thing, right? So, but we're in this. That's why we are talking about, try to eat more local food, and these kind of things, because we were doing like that, and then I feel like every our action is tied up with damaging the nature this time. So it's very critical time that we have to be aware of that. Then we also have to think one thing: we are different among other contemporary human beings. There are other human beings in same century. They are also in 21st century, right? But many of them have no opportunity to access the true knowledge. Some country, you have no right to think. They say you cannot think like that. They lock down your head. You are not allowed to think like that, right? Something like that. Is still, we have a lot of countries like that. You have to say something even though you don't believe in that way. If you don't say like that way, you cannot survive. You have to, cheat yourself. You have to deceive yourself. There are this, but but many other countries, they have a right to think, the right to say what is in your head, right? So all these kind of rights, what we have to use those rights in right way. Sometimes we have rights, we use right in wrong way. They use, I have right to say this, I have right to do this, I have right to eat this, I have right to buy this, right? Then you use your own right to damage planet, damage others' well-being, right? This is not good. So we have to use our right of thinking, right of acting, right of speech in right way. Try to accept and understand fact, right? And then behave much better than others. Others, I mean the others who have no opportunity to understand truth. They are kind of innocent. If they are doing crazy, the deed per se is not good, but it's still they are doing it by ignorance. But something we are doing with awareness, right? So in that case, we really have to know we are different from our contemporary mankind that exists. Then, what the Buddhist teaching mean to environmentalism, right? That is one thing we have to also understand. Sometimes Buddhism seems like kind of practice that you do when after you close your bedroom door and sitting on your bed and then meditate. It is not like that, right? Buddhism is a practice that you can practice all the time where you go, what you do. So even in this kind of care, we have to think what Buddha taught us, what Buddha's teaching matters. What I was told and heard is that and in our where human being have what? We have physical brain in our skull, like a brain. That is sort of everything that we have in physical way. That people might think we become different from other animals because of that brain, or all they think is everything from that brain. So what is that brain, right? So I heard that scientists understand that brain is a kind of something that can detect short-term problem. It cannot detect long-term problem, right? But your brain can tell that if somebody is trying to chase you, you should run away, right? That our brain know, right? If you don't hold tightly, you will fall down. When you're climbing on the tree or like rock climber, right? Your brain knows that, right? Your brain knows that if you hit a football, if you kick a football, it's fine. If you kick a wall, it's painful. Your brain knows these things, but your brain is not capable to, right, by itself understand long-term problem. Your brain will not know, your tiny action will bring big problem. Your brain is not that capable by nature, right? So there is some what would they call it, like amygdala, right? A part of brain that has memory of what happened earlier, right? You will not make mistake again, something like that, but so tiny, and that can understand these things, but your brain cannot understand long-term threat. So to understand long-term threat, then what Buddha was saying, right? Buddha was always talking about spiritual practice. But a spiritual not physical brain, kind of spiritual brain. Buddha called it wisdom, right? Wisdom. That is the translation we keep using all the time, right? Wisdom, kind of spiritual brain that you have. That kind of brain can detect long-term problem. In the Buddhism, always trying to find the long-term problem. Buddhism is not teaching you how to, make money, how to run away from physical pain or disease, right? Also not talking that much about social justice of these kind of things there, but mainly talking about like long-term problem, right? So it's like more than environment issue. Buddhism is talking about if you do something wrong now, you will get problem after many life, right? So then the training is trying to connect the consequence that we are going to face after many life and what we are doing now. Always talking about how to find the subtle problem, right? It's like if I try to say it in one word, Buddhism is all about find the connection between subtle cause and giant impact, right? Subtle cause and giant impact. Your cause is tiny. You are doing something tiny, but consequence could be huge. But that our brain, ordinary brain, means like when I say brain, the brain that is not educated, right, could not understand that kind of things. If you have a power to make animals to talk, then you ask them, they have no idea, right, about this kind of impact. Should not be. So in that case, Buddha's teaching is really connected with environmental issue because it helps us to connect a small cause and giant impact. That is one thing we can learn from Buddhism. So in that means it's not about your brain, it's about you have to develop awareness that can see farther and together, right? Present and like next at least like 5 generations together, then try to understand how the consequences would be. And then one thing we learn from Buddhism for environmentalism is, in Buddhism, always talking about how to fix from cause, not talking that much about how to fix after you damage. That is really important thing we have to know. In regular, we are always thinking about how to fix after damage, right? Most of we are talking about it. Insurance, worry about how to fix after damage, right? We buy more expensive insurance and get cheap training, right? So when you are driving a car, instead of learning proper way to drive, you will try to buy more expensive insurance, right? That is what we behave in normal life. But in the Buddhism, that is wrong. Which is wrong is trying to find how to fix after damage. First, you have to find how to not cause a damage. That is the real teaching of Buddhism. So we need that one for environment. So we are thinking about like how to eat, I talked many times, insects, how to make burger from insects, crazy, right? And how to, take back those carbon dioxide from, that greenhouse gas from space to down, right? How to take it back, right? And then how to clean the pollution, like, how we do it. This is what we are thinking. But that is kind of, sort of cheating, honestly, Then they are just, showing you, teeth to do something, right? But the best way is not produce more pollution, right? Not try to produce more greenhouse gas. That is important. That is the teachings in Buddhism. They were also heard that some people say it is too late. You cannot do anything for greenhouse gas. These things I don't believe that much. They were always saying nothing can be too late. If our mankind history is like a movie, it's too late. Now we have only 10 minutes to show. Then we are done with that movie, right? It's the end. It's too late, right? It's not like that. The man race, right, is going all the time. It will live like, more than past in the future. The future of mankind is, I think, definitely longer than the past. So nothing can be too late. That is, I don't think it's too late to think about it. And then, most important thing is, not cause damage. Try to stop from causing. I like those solutions, like electronic cars, right? These solar things. They are trying to fix from cause. But if you try to fix from after you damage, that is wrong according to Buddhism. Buddhism, always saying like that. If you don't want to suffer, find the problem and cure it, right? If you could not fix the problem, then surely you have to go for what? Purification. That is always, a second option, purification, right? Then maybe that is the time we'll go to the hospital, not to check up, find the treatment, right? So that is one thing. Then the another thing very interesting is in the Buddhism, we are always talking about deeds, action, right? So like we're often talking about karma. It's all about deed. And Buddhism is all about how to fix your deed, what your action, make it more like kind and ethical, right? So then this environmental problem is also the problem of deed, our action, human action. We have the terminology like Anthropocene, right? Anthropocene, like where are the main factor to damage environment? And then how come we are that? Because we are our deed, our human activity, because of our action, it cause more pollution, using much more water, and those kind of dam and automobile, and now we have like consumerism. All those are our action, our activity. the result is also comes with our action, right? Greenhouse gas, the loss of forests, all connected. Then losing biodiversity, then nitrogen, pollutions, right? All these things there. So in that case, in the Buddhism, we say the karma is everything. We have to fix our karma, right? Then environmentalism, we are saying like that, we have to fix our action, human activity. So doing something is not wrong, right? We have to live, we have to do something, but always we have to do something that is not very harmful. So that's why I was thinking like, this is not bad idea. You know, trying to pay something back to the planet, right? When you cut one tree, better to plant another one, right? So and these things there. So Anthropocene is like so funny. After like 1950s or in the 60s, then everything goes up, all problems goes up, more pollution, right? Or climate problems, all problems increase after that. So all these are happening in general, lack of ethics. We become more greedy, right? More, we're racing to become the richest one. We're racing to become armed one. We are racing to become who has power. We also race to reach in the moon, right? So something like that, racing, challenging, want to become in the first place, running and running and running. But what we lose is we lose ethics, our kindness that we have. Then we only use our physical brain. We did not use our another, wisdom. We did not never try to look in, broad way. Then lack of self-discipline, right? Then if we put together, it's lack of compassion, lack of caring about other. You might be a good householder. You care about only your own few kids, your own, parents or grandparents, maybe your own community. But you have not sense of compassionate toward all living beings. That is always the problem in our history all the time. When we see only, right? Look at, that makes Buddhism is very special. I really like that part. It includes all people together. That is what we need. I don't know we need, call it Buddhism or not, but we need that sense. We need to put all together. Whether it is Buddhist, non-Buddhist, human being, non-human being, even I think it's important to put together vegetations. Even though we don't believe, right, vegetations are creature, but it's still vegetations are kind of home for many creatures. that live on it, right? So lack of compassion, this kind of compassion, and right, like look at the damming the water. When you put the dam for water, what does that mean? That means you care about your own usage. You never check where the water goes, how much that water benefit others earlier. You never look at there. You say, that is my place. I want to put dam here to use this water to produce more food, to make more money, or whatever, maybe to feed your own people. And then lack of awareness of interdependence. If your neighbor is happy, you will be happy. Just think about that problem, the Bangladesh and Rohingyas problem, right? When the neighbor had problem, then other country get problem together, right? Immigrants and like these things. Also, it will impact India, I think, sure, later on. So when your neighbor is suffering, somehow you will get suffering. So lack of awareness of interdependence, then we are always focusing ourselves as center. That is not true. You are not center of everything. I am not center of everything. You are not center of everything. It's not like that you live, the world live, you die, the world die. It is not like that, right? We have to be aware of that every sentient being is sort of center, interdependently. We need that kind of awareness. Then that is, always in Mahayana Buddhist teaching, right? And if you look at Shantideva's teaching, it's all about that. Understand interdependence with among other and reduce the mind that you are the center, right? Then put others as center. Then care for every other, means like respect them as well as you respect yourself. Respect them is not calling them Mr. or Miss or something like that. It's not about that kind of respect. It's respect from the heart, not from your mouth, right? Some people are really good at using the language, but they are in their mind, there's no place for any other people. So it should not be that. So too much to say. Then, so in that sense, to become real practitioner, who respect others' well-being, we cannot ignore environmental issue at all, whatever you call it, right? So all of us, then we are responsible because we are human being. Your dog cannot do anything. Your cat cannot do anything. Even the giant elephant cannot do anything. Where mankind can do any help, right? Then we have responsibility. Then we are in 21st century. If we are in like Stone Age or Ice Age, you have not that much responsibility that time. But we are in 21st century, right? So that means we have another responsibility there. Then if you practice Buddhism, then that is the best way to practice Buddhism. You are not just saying, you are thinking. you can, practice your practice in hand, right? By speech, by action, how you care. Remember, in the end of where Bodhisattva was alive, then Shantideva wrote a prayer at the end of there. He prayed that I wish all the consequence of bad karma of others, I wish they can ripe on me, right? Then I wish the Sangha of Bodhisattva will lead other living beings toward happiness, right? That I think that is not just prayer, right? So Chanju Sembe Gindegi Dovetela Jubasho. The Bodhisattva Sangha means like the Guru of Bodhisattva or the individual Bodhisattva who practice can lead all living beings toward happiness. So we are praying that we are doing nothing. If we do like that, right, and that is a weird thing, funny thing. So in that case, even in your house, right, how you practice, how you try to, reduce kind of your action that has impact on environment. It is really, you can count it as your own practice. Right, in a way, I try to say like, that is your practice of generosity. You are sacrificing kind of your like handy thing. If you put everything in your trash, it's easy, right? But you are trying to do something there. And then pulling car is good. No matter how cheap gas is, how expensive gas is, it's also no matter can you afford it or not. But it's like you can use it as your own practice, right? You stop to buying thing that is so easy for you, but it will cause giant impact on environment. Then if you sacrifice your easiness to do these things, it is your generosity, right? You are giving away your happiness. Then once you try to regulate your own action and your own wills, then it's also kind of morality, right? Morality is always mean not to harm others. That is the main meaning of morality. Even though you are like very disciplined, you are like just wait, something show up here, okay. Even though you are very disciplined, you are kind of person that has like very punctual time, that wear very proper clothes, and that talk very properly, right? Your speech is like 100% right, like you are sort of like holy being in others' eyes, but all your action is something that causing damage of planet, and then you are not harming in our like you are not harming according to this kind of physical brain. We can see it, but you are harming. others because of your action. Caring about environmentalism or environment, right, is also kind of practice of morality, because it's not all about us, it's all about future living beings. And that is really important. Then that is our one responsibility, to call yourself as Buddha's follower or practitioner or kind of, Sangha. So, okay, this is all about. So now we are done with this topic, Buddha and the Mother Nature. So don't think your action is very tiny, it will not do anything. Remember, a subtle cause can cause giant impact. So each of your, little behavior is really important to produce a giant impact in future, in good way. Okay, so that is all. Now time is also up. Thank you very much for spending time with me and listening my gibberish sort of talk. But I'm really appreciate to see you guys here. And then I hope also, situation will get better and better. But still, I'm going to do every Sunday talk in different subject. You are most welcome all the time. Thank you very much.